And with me now, GOPAC chairman and Republican strategist, David Avella. Good evening, David. So,
Judge, good to see you.
Good to see you as well. So Hillary barely wins Iowa. Bernie Sanders is projected to win New Hampshire by a large margin. Who do you think is going to be the president, the Democratic nominee for president?
The fact that Bernie Sanders has her on the run shows how weak of a candidate she is, and it gives hope to those who want Joe Biden or Elizabeth Warren, or Judge, you and I can be the first to talk about Michael Bloomberg as the Democratic nominee.
Well, you know, I doubt that Michael Bloomberg would be the Democratic nominee, given the fact that you've got, I think, Joe Biden who might jump in if it's neither one of those two. And I got to tell you, David, I have a theory. You want to hear my theory?
Yes.
Yeah, my theory is that Hillary gets herself into real legal trouble, and she has to give her delegates to someone at the convention. She doesn't give them to Mr. Bernie Sanders there. She gives them to Joe Biden. What do you think of that one?
You know, it's probably Republicans' biggest concern is that Hillary Clinton's not the nominee for the Democratic Party. This is a woman whose every action only verifies why many Americans don't trust her. It is why she's very weak. She is running as a third term of President Obama, which is a direction Americans have very clearly said they don't want to go. For Republicans, we want Hillary Clinton to be the Democratic nominee, and our worst-case scenario is the superdelegates, which are her lifeline right now.
Right.
Her biggest constituency is those superdelegates, which have so much influence over who becomes the Democratic nominee.
Right.
It's that they turn away from her. And we've already had one in South Carolina go from Hillary Clinton to Bernie Sanders.
All right, let's talk about the Republicans. Ted Cruz eking out a victory in Iowa over Donald Trump. Donald still in double-digit leads going into the New Hampshire primary on Tuesday. And then you got Jeb Bush. And I got to tell you, the guy has spent so much money. He's dragging his mother out. He's dragging his brother out. I mean, does this guy have to at some point say it's over? Although I'm looking at the money this guy's raised. He's raised an enormous amount of money and spent an enormous amount of money.
Well, it was said to me just a couple days ago that it doesn't matter how much advertising you put behind a product. If voters don't want to buy or don't want to buy it, they're not going to buy it. And with much of this campaign advertising, unless voters are buying into the message that a candidate is selling, it doesn't matter how much they spend.
Right,
but
right.
Look,
well, I'll tell you, the voters aren't buying him at all. I mean, you know, here's the problem. Part of it is he always wears that sweater. And to me, he looks like he's on his way to bed, you know, and maybe he just needs a good night's sleep because he doesn't have any energy. Donald's right about that. All right, let me ask you about Marco Rubio. Here he is, exactly where he wanted to be, kind of in the middle of the pack, not in the lead too soon. What do you think is going to happen?
Well, Judge, you may remember I said last time we were together that I thought Marco was going to win South Carolina, which goes with his strategy of coming in third in Iowa, second in New Hampshire, and then go on and get his first victory in South Carolina. Look, his campaign feels very good about where they are. But let me also tell you that just this week, I know Ted Cruz's people feel very good that they might actually even be able to eke out a second-place victory to propel them to going into South Carolina, get a win there, and then they will have won 2 of the first 3. And, Judge, you know how I feel about that history says that whoever wins 2 of the first 3 becomes our nominee. So he's certainly trying to have that strategy going. Well, but let me just say this. The polls are kind of saying one thing. This is going to be a toss-up. And I don't know how the polls are any more clear in New Hampshire than they were in Iowa, which gave us a very different result.
A very good point. But I got to tell you, I think that little, you know, that dirty trick that Cruz did to Carson is going to work against him. I really think as it kind of saturates, you know, you don't do that stuff. Anyway, David Avella, great to have you on the show tonight. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Judge.
All right.